Hello, and welcome to our video on using the new Band-in-a-Box for Windows DAW plugin in Acoustica Mixcraft. With Band-in-a-Box 2019 for Windows, we have introduced a plugin that accesses all the real tracks and real drums and other content included in Band-in-a-Box, but can be used right inside your favorite DAW without having to open the actual Band-in-a-Box application. The plugin comes free with the purchase of Band-in-a-Box and installs when you install the Band-in-a-Box program. In this video, we will be looking at the various ways you can use the Band-in-a-Box plugin within Acoustica Mixcraft. If you are using a different DAW, we have other videos that demonstrate the plugin within other DAWs such as Pro Tools, Reaper, Studio One, Cubase, and many more. First, we will go over a quick and easy way to get started using the plugin. And we will also go over some of the technical aspects, including installation, locations of the plugin on your computer, and some settings within the plugin. Then we will look at some different ways you can use the plugin. And throughout the video, I will try to use a different variety of styles so you'll get a sense of some of the different genres, grooves, and tempos we cover. Whether you're into jazz, rock, country, R&B, or any styles you can think of, there is something for you in Band-in-a-Box. Right now, we are listening to some great funk tracks playing in Mixcraft that we created with the plugin. Everything you are currently hearing was created with the Band-in-a-Box plugin, simply by typing in these chords, and you can type in any chords in any key. Then we picked this great funk style and generated the tracks. I'm going to go back in time a little bit and show you exactly how we got these great sounding tracks. We are going to start with a blank Mixcraft project. There aren't even any tracks yet, other than the master tracks seen here at the bottom in the mixer. In order to use the plugin, I will first need to create a track that we can apply the plugin to. You can do this by pressing the Add New Track button here and selecting Insert Virtual Instrument Track. Now that we have our instrument track, I'm going to press the Change Instrument button, which is displayed with a little keyboard, and this will open up the Change Instrument dialog. Under Category, we want to select VST Instruments. Then over here on the right, we will select the Band-in-a-Box plugin. And now we can see our Band-in-a-Box plugin below under Instruments. And we want to press the Edit button to open the plugin. Now we can close the Change Instrument dialog. So this is the Band-in-a-Box plugin. It's sizable, so I'll make it bigger. Currently, we have a blank chord chart. This area here is for the instruments within the style, and is currently blank because we haven't selected a style yet. Here is where you can pick a style. Over here, we can set various musical elements such as the key, time signature, etc. And there is a spot for a song title and various menus we will look at later. What we basically need to do in order to get some tracks is pick a style and enter some chords. Not necessarily in that order, so I'll enter a chord progression first. I'll do it in the key of G, and I'll start entering some chords. G7 at bar 1, and I'll leave that for 4 bars. Maybe B flat 7 sus at bar 5, and C7 at bar 7. I'll use a handy shortcut, K8, to copy the last 8 bars. I'll also add a part marker at bar 9 to fill out the form, and that will cause the drums to play a fill at the bar right before the part marker. At bar 17, I'll add another part marker, but I'll click twice to make it a B part marker, which means the drums will change what they are playing at that part. And I'll enter A minor, and D minor at bar 19, A minor at bar 21 again, and then D7 at bar 23. I think that's good. I'll change some of the elements up here. I'll make the end at bar 24, but I'll actually end on a G chord. And I'll change the choruses to 4, so the entire song will repeat 4 times. Now we can select a style, either by clicking the Select a Style area, or by going to the Select menu and picking Select a Style. So here is a list of all the Band-in-a-Box styles available, and you can see there is over 6,000 styles to choose from. And in this list, you can double-click on any style to hear a demo of what the style will sound like. For example, if I filter the list by jazz, I can demo some of the jazz styles. or some rock styles. Or maybe some country styles. But I think the progression I entered will be very well suited to some funk styles. So I will filter by funk. And I love the sound of this lash out style. You will notice in this column, it shows the ideal tempo for the style, which for this one is 110. That does not mean you have to use it at that tempo, but if it is somewhat close to that, you will get the best results. So I'll press OK to pick the style. The default tempo in Mixcraft is 120 beats per minute. But I'll bring it a little closer to the 110 beats per minute ideal tempo for our style. So let's go with 114. And I'll set that in the plugin as well. When you first add the plugin to your project, it will take the tempo from the DAW, but since we changed it in the DAW, we need to change it in the plugin as well. So now we are ready to generate the parts. And there are some custom generate options in this menu, but right now I just want to generate all the tracks normally, so I'll just press the top generate button. So it is now creating the tracks. If you notice on the left here, there are some green squares and a blue square in this area. And those squares are currently empty. Once the generation has completed, those squares will be filled in. The generation does take some time, so I will skip ahead a little bit. So now the generation has finished, and the squares are now filled in with waveform icons, meaning they are ready to drag and drop into the DAW. Before we do that, we can demo these tracks by pressing the play button within the plugin. And now we can drag them into our DAW individually. But I'll undo that because we can actually import all the tracks at the same time by dragging the blue icon. And now we have all these tracks right in our DAW. So now we can mix the tracks, add effects, or anything you like. And as with all real tracks and real drums, these are real instruments played by real musicians. These are not individually sampled notes. These are actual performances by some of the top studio musicians in the world, able to play over any chord progression in any key that you enter. This particular style has a bass part played by Alex Al, one of the most sought-after bass players in LA who played in Michael Jackson's band for over 10 years. On guitar is Bob Lanzetti. Baritone guitar, Mark Lettieri. And drummer, Sput Seawright, all of whom are a major part of the New York funk and fusion scene. I'll do some similar but quicker examples like this with a few different styles so you can get a sense of the scope of what you can do with the Band-in-a-Box plugin. Here, I'm typing in some chords like I did before, but this time I'll pick a hard rock style, setting the tempo and generating the tracks. Now I'm dragging them in, and I've got some great hard rock tracks in my project. Here, I'm typing in some chords again, picking a bluegrass style, and generating the tracks. Dragging them in, and I've got some great bluegrass tracks in my project. In addition to actually typing in the chords, you can also just open actual Band-in-a-Box files. Either files you have created right in the Band-in-a-Box app, or files people have sent you, or even the demos that come with Band-in-a-Box. I'm going to open a Band-in-a-Box song file that features a country style that includes a soloist by the amazing Nashville legend Johnny Highland. So now we have the entire song entered for us. The chord progression, key, form, etc. So I'll just generate the real tracks, drag them in, and here's a great country style with Johnny Highland soloing over the changes. And of course, in addition to opening Band-in-a-Box files, you can also save anything you have entered here as a Band-in-a-Box file as well. I'll do the same file open thing, loading a song that features a style that includes the amazing Alex Acuna on drums, as well as the amazing Ramon Stagnaro on guitar. I'll generate, drag in the tracks, and here it is playing. So now we will take a look at the installation, setup, and actually getting started with the plugin. The plugin works by accessing your Band-in-a-Box folder, and particularly the real tracks, real drums, and other content in the Band-in-a-Box folder. As such, the plugin is installed during the installation of Band-in-a-Box. It can also be installed with patch updates for Band-in-a-Box. In either case, during the Band-in-a-Box installation, you'll reach the part where the plugin is actually installed. For the majority of users, going with the defaults within the installation will be exactly what you'll want to do. Nevertheless, I'll go through the steps here and explain what's going on. Here it shows the different plugin types that are going to be installed. The VST2 and VST3 files are the ones we are particularly concerned with in this video. But there are also AAX plugin files, which is used for Pro Tools. If you don't have Pro Tools installed and don't think you will in the future, you can deselect the AAX plugin. However, there is certainly no harm in just leaving them and going with the default, since they hardly take up any room. I will also be installing both 32 and 64-bit plugin files. At the bottom of the list is a checkbox for the VST FX plugin file. You can leave these unchecked unless your DAW only supports FX plugins. However, this is not the case with Mixcraft. So just press next. Here it shows you exactly where on the computer the plugins will be installed. The default Band-in-a-Box folder is C/BB, but on this computer, I have Band-in-a-Box installed to the D drive. This needs to be the location where you installed the Band-in-a-Box application originally. If you install Band-in-a-Box to a different drive, for example E, this installer would remember that. There should be no reason to change this. As for the location of the plugin files, we can leave these as the defaults as well. However, we will need to make some directory adjustments within Mixcraft after the installation. And just press next. This part of the installation is just related to VST2 and different locations where the VST2 plugin will be duplicated. The plugin does not take up a lot of space, so it is fine to just leave these. or remove the checkboxes, whatever you prefer. So just press Next again. And that's it for the installation. Now when we open Mixcraft back up, we need to create a virtual instrument track. Go to VSTi Instruments like we did before, but you can see the Band-in-a-Box plugin is not found. So what we need to do is go to File, Preferences, Plugins at the bottom of the list, and click the Edit VST/VSTi Folders button. Then hit Auto Scan for VST/VSTi directories. This will search your computer for any other locations that may contain VST plugins. Once the scan has completed, there may still be one more directory we need to add. So just press the Add button, select the C drive, program files x86, VST plugins, and press OK. Now just press OK again. Mixcraft will then ask if you wish to search all the directories we have added for additional VST plugins. So just press Yes. Now we can press OK again, and the Band-in-a-Box plugin will now be available under VSTi Instruments. Now that we have the Band-in-a-Box plugin loaded again, let's check out some of the settings within the plugin. The host is automatically set for certain DAWs, which optimizes some of the settings for that DAW, but in this case that is not relevant. There is no reason to change this, and auto is the best option to leave it at. Clear renders will clear all of the audio files that are currently saved in the Band-in-a-Box folder. By default, Mixcraft will leave all the audio files in their original location. So be sure to save your Mixcraft project using the Copy Project Files option under the File menu before you clean your Band-in-a-Box plugin renders. We also have some checkboxes here to highlight bars during DAW playback, sync playback, and show a notification when generations are complete. This area is taken from the installation where we specify the Band-in-a-Box locations. There is likely no reason to change these locations, but if they were pointing at an incorrect folder, it would appear in red. You can set the correct folders using the select buttons, but pressing the Find Folder button would likely set it back to the correct folder automatically. Now that we have gone over the preferences, let's do another demonstration of the plugin in action. To start, I'll create some blues tracks. For the most part, it will be just like the other examples we did earlier, but once the tracks are made, I will add some more elements to the song. So I'll type in a straight ahead blues in E. I'll have it repeat 6 times, and like before, I'll load a style. Generate the tracks, and drag them in. Then I'll give them a quick listen. Back in the plugin, you'll notice the green and blue square for the audio. But on the other side, there are some yellow squares with eighth notes inside them. This means for these tracks, there is also MIDI available. For guitars and basses, this is mostly just useful for notation. But for the piano, this could actually be very useful right in this project. So I'll drag it into our Mixcraft project, and since it is MIDI, it automatically creates a new virtual instrument track. I'll solo the new track and press play. Then open up the Change Instrument dialog, go to Keyboard Piano under Category, and now I can demo all of these different pianos live with our MIDI info. I kind of like this one, so we will leave that. Now I would like to see if we can add a bit of modern flavor by adding a loop. Maybe I can find some cool hip-hop drums. Like everything else in Band-in-a-Box, when trying to find the right instrument, just double-click to demo. And I think I like this one. So I'll just generate the loop and drag it in. Mute the original drums and piano and give it a listen. Sounds pretty funky. We now have this funky hip-hop project, even though we started with a blues style. Thanks for watching our video on the Band-in-a-Box DAW plugin demonstrated in Acoustica Mixcraft. Have fun!